I would look at the promo reports and I would see who was supporting my music and who was playing everything. That was my way of saying, all right, so if this guy's going to play this record, all right, he's probably going to like this, or he's probably going to like the next few that I send. So honestly, I was using social media as much as I could to just get in touch with someone. And, I was reaching out to guys like Alan Fitzpatrick, and then, I'd send them a batch of promos. So I was kind of just using the pieces and the puzzles to get to the next step. And I would still keep my relationship with everyone that I was releasing with.
Hey!
Hey.
How are you, dude?
Good. Everything's good.
Welcome to my music talk on Twitch. Welcome to my disco shed.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
My studio, my Shed 54 disco shed in my garden.
I love it. That's amazing.
So, yeah, you're one of the new school techno pioneers, and you've just released your debut album, In My Mind, on Maceo Plex's Ellum label, Ellum audio label, last week. First up, congrats.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And you grew up in New York, which is incredible and has a mad landscape of music. So I want to talk through that. I want to talk through some of the album. We're going to play some of the tracks, which I'm really excited about. Obviously, we've been a big fan of yours on Data Transmission for a while. So I'm excited to have you on here. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
How are you? How was your weekend?
Thanks for having me. Everything was great, man. Everything was really cool. The weekend was a little overwhelming, especially because we released the album on Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, my phone just didn't stop going off. But it was all great things. I was super, super happy with the way things turned out. And then Friday, we threw a cool little get together in Brooklyn. Just friends and family, just to celebrate. And then that was it, man. That was my weekend. I just recovered and just relaxed after that and just chilled.
Nice. So the album came out on Thursday. First and foremost, I just wanted to kind of obviously with an album, there's a big load of build up and there's a big kind of it's a long process. So I just thought we'd start with kind of those feelings and emotions that were kind of around that release day. It must have been quite a big... It's out now.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd kind of get that perspective from you,
Yeah, man. This album's been in the works for a decent amount of time. We kept pushing it back because of the pandemic. And just felt a little bit nervous. It's like bringing your kid to their first day of school, kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like that. It was I was kind of just nervous on how everyone's going to take certain style of music, this is the first time I was kind of breaking off of the jacking techno realm and the heavier stuff. So I was interested to see how the reactions were. And I was just a little bit nervous. I think the night before I stayed up till 3:00, 4:00 in the morning, just on my phone, just checking everything, making sure all right, it's live now. So I knew in the morning to go live with my post and all that stuff. But yeah, it was definitely a little bit nervous for sure, especially because it's my first time releasing an album. So I was definitely a little nervous.
Have you worked with a label before?
We did one EP before this. I forgot when we released it. I want to say 2019. I think we released it. Let me check.
The pandemic throws all dates out.
It? I'm a mess. I have no idea when. It feels you know what it was? It feels like it was just one long ass year. So my 2019, 2020 is just completely messed up. I don't know the dates in those 2 years. I'm just all messed up. So we released my first EP on Ellum in February of 2020. I was sending Eric, Maceo Plex, a ton of music from even before we released that EP. I was just sending him material after material. Yeah, sure enough, he was just dude, you sent me so many tracks. I think we need to do an album. And I was great. This is a perfect situation. So yeah, once he told me that he wanted me to do an album with some of the tracks I've already sent him, that's when I started coming back into the studio and just digging a little bit deeper, and just doing things that I wouldn't usually do, I guess, in my normal studio process.
That's cool. So it's been going a while then. That's
Yeah, yeah. So it's nearly almost 2 years.
wow.
Yeah, like it's been on hold for a decent amount of time. Um, because originally we were going to shoot for the summer. We just kept feeling like I didn't want to rush certain things, and I just wanted it to come out properly. And the way the pandemic just kept hitting us, I didn't want to release the music during that time because I felt like this album for me is like that breakout more so. It's like really gonna grab a little bit more attention than some of my other releases. So I just wanted to come out in a time where like people could go experience it in a club,
Mm,
go to a festival and hear the tracks because at the end of the day, this isn't like a listening album. They're club tracks, you know what I mean?
mm,
Don't get me wrong, there's vocals, there's other things that yes, you can go listen to it in the car and everything, but I want people to experience this in a club. That's why I wrote them,
mm.
you know?
That's cool. Cause I actually thought I was listening to it and I was like, this is a great listening album. Like I was fully into the, like I was fully into. I was like, oh, what? This is great. I was in that mode with it, and
Yeah. It's not banging, you know what I mean? So it's definitely easier to listen to than most electronic, or dance music tracks. But when I wrote it, I envisioned what a club would feel like in
mm.
certain situations. So for me, it was really important to just have this out when things were a little bit better.
There's a wide selection of sounds as well. It's not just straight up like say trap techno on it.
No, yeah, no, I wanted to really show what I'm about, like in the studio and just writing melodies, vocals, everything. I wanted to give the experience of a full production rather than just like, a one synth chord line or, I just wanted it to be different than some of my other stuff. And I just wanted to have the listeners hear that I changed it up a little bit and like, oh, wow, this guy has a little bit more of a different style. This is cool.
That's
For
good.
for me, it's not really so much about like house or techno or anything else. It's just about making good stuff.
That's cool. I like that. Before we play some of it, can we sort of step back? You grew up in New York. How was that? Let's talk about your childhood.
So yeah, I grew up in Staten Island, New York, and then we moved over to New Jersey. So like I spent like half and half in both states, but I mean, New York is just something special, man. Don't get me wrong. I like living in New Jersey, because it's a little bit separated. It's less hecticness, and it's a little bit more suburb area. But New York is special, bro. I every time I go through the tunnel or over a bridge, I'm just like, I love the city. I really do. It's something special. You have to really experience it to understand it. And I feel like the people that are from New York are just a different type of breed. We're just a different animal. And I like carrying that with me everywhere I go. That's why everyone always sees me with a Yankee hat or a New York hat. Like that's just me, and I feel like being from the city is something really special. Not everyone could say they're from New York, obviously, and especially now, I feel like it's important to be representing where I'm from, just to show people, this shit started here, and it's still going. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's it's still going. A lot of people say it's like Detroit techno, everything like that, but disco, house music, like there's a really long history there for New York clubbing, and the roots come to New York. So I mean, I'm always going to be an advocate of New York. It's where my heart is.
When did you get into electronic music? Let's talk about this.
I was born into it. I hate to say it like that, but my dad, this like so like all these keyboards behind me, these are my dad's, so
Oh
like
wow.
yeah, like my dad has been in the music game for a long time. He had a wedding band, but before he had a wedding band, he was doing like his own solo career thing. He wrote a bunch of records. He had a few disco records that hit like Billboard Top 100 back in the 80s and stuff. So like he's definitely got my feet wet at a very young age. Like as far as I can remember, I was downstairs as he was watching me. I was just downstairs in the studio, you know what I mean? He was
Mm.
just working on like sequencing and making tracks for his band to play over as well. So like he's been sequencing and reprogramming instrumental tracks as far as I can remember. Like 3, 4 years old, I was watching him sequence like let's say Robin S. Show Me Love, something like
Yeah.
that. Or like finally CC Pedestin. So like I was kind of born into the electronic music era, right? I was born in 93. Everything started coming out electronic probably in the late 80s. House music was really born, I would say like 88, 89, and it really carried from the early 90s on. Yeah, that's really what got me started into it. As far as I can remember music, it was, house music was alive as soon as I was born. So it's like that's when I got into it. But when I started getting more into it, I would say around like 12 years old, 11 years old, I started really liking it.
Skeleton Keys asks you, what was your dad's artist name?
If you're gonna look up one of his records, it would be titled Image, Holding On.
Cool.
You got to do a little digging for that, but it's on YouTube somewhere out there.
Nice.
Eventually, I will resample it and do something with it.
You should.
I got it. I have to do that. That's only right.
Yeah, you definitely have to. That'd be sick. Especially if it's hard. Especially if it's hard to dig. Like that sample is gonna be rarer, isn't it? It's like mad.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. So no one get any ideas in this chat because I'll come to
you. And then when did you gravitate into techno? Because let's talk about that journey. Because obviously we know you for a long time for these thumping releases.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to say I got into techno around like 15, 16 years old. My cousin Victor Calderon. I started going to see him at a very young age, like 16 years old. I was going to see him at festivals. Yeah. I was already DJing at that time, but I was DJing more like house music stuff, like Harry Romero, like Eric Murillo, Dennis Ferrer. That was like I liked a lot of that stuff. And then as soon as I started hearing Victor and I started to experience him in a New York club, I was just blown away. I was just like, holy shit, my world just changed. And like I would go home digging for all the records he was playing and just trying to sound exactly like those records when I was producing. That's what got my feet wet into the techno realm. And then I just started like everyone, you want to know the roots. And obviously I knew like the classic techno records, but like I started digging, 18, 19 years old. I was digging like for, the stuff that was made in the, the 90s and everything like that. And that's what got my heart. I felt like as soon as I started finding like real Detroit techno and guys like Robert Hood or Derek May and the original Detroit guys, that's when I started like, oh shit, this is really what I like, because it has a lot of soul to it, and you could break in a disco sample or you could break in a cool vocal on stuff like that, and that's what I relate to a lot. And yeah, I would say around like 16 years old, I started getting into techno, and it was mainly because of my cousin, without a doubt.
That's mad, because I used to work for a nightclub in London called Turnmills, and around that time, that 2005, 2006, we obviously had him come and play us, and I loved watching him play. It was mad. Like he's really like the music he was playing, obviously quite tribally and quite chunky and really lovely music. Like
for me, man, he is definitely one of the most. Don't get me wrong. In New York, he's the king. You know what I mean? It's Victor and Danny Tenaglia. Those are the guys. I feel around the world, he's definitely like an underrated DJ. He's crazy good. Like I owe like 70% of my skills just watching him for all those years. Like, man, I learned so much by watching him play. Like just a whole nother level. Like just the way he reads a room and Carries a Night alone is super, super important to watch. And I learned that at a really young age, and I'm super grateful for it.
That's cool. Yeah, I love watching him back then. It was mad. That's cool. That's really mad because we were having him play then. And you were, yeah, cool.
How long ago was that?
Literally the same time, literally the same time as you were discovering music, we were having Victor play at Turnmills in London, like 2004, 2005, 2006, that sort of time.
Nice. So like he was just coming off of like that major like Madonna run. Like he was doing the whole Madonna remixes and the Beyonce remixes like probably 2001, 2002-ish.
Yeah.
So that's like he was huge, right? Like in that moment, like he was a big artist.
Yeah, we had him headlining. Like it was a big night, like big Saturday with him. Okay, so then you started playing techno. Yeah, you're right. It is soulful, and you're right. Like, well, especially what Robert Hood's doing now with Floor Plan, it just shows so much that.
Yeah, he's a G, man. He's one of my favorites.
He is. I love
guys like Robert Hood. It's like you hear Robert Hood do a certain type of record, and then it gives you the pass to be like, oh, I could do something like that or in that style. Like, because he does it so well. It's like, yo, I wanted to do something like that, but like, I don't know if it'll be corny or, you know, you always contemplate things as a producer. But then once Robert Hood does it, it's like the green light. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, shit, you know, I can do this now. He's inspired me immensely over the years. I met him a few years ago, and he's such a great guy. Really nice guy.
Yeah, we did. Do you know he was actually one of our first interviews on Data Transmission, like back in 2008.
Oh, really?
We actually interviewed him in the back of a taxi.
No way. That's hysterical.
From one way to another. And we literally jumped in the back of the taxi with him, and we just literally interviewed him in the taxi, and then we all jumped out and went our separate ways because that's how much time we were allowed with him. It's like,
that's amazing.
Jono asks in the chat, who was your biggest influence?
Obviously Victor's been a huge influence for me. Outside of Victor, that's so hard to say. My dad obviously is a major influence for me. I love. It's funny because outside of the techno realm, I don't really listen to much techno. Like, I listen to a lot of stuff that's like challenges me musically. So I listen to like a lot of funk, soul, jazz, rock, R&B. Disco, obviously. Over the years, I'd say like guys like Robert Hood, Dennis Frere. I loved the Martinez brothers when they were first coming through, especially because they're from New York, and it was like that pass that like you can do this at a young age. Man, it's so hard. I'm so inspired by a lot of artists outside of music. It's funny. I just did an interview and I said Derek Jeter inspired me a lot as a kid, just the way he carried himself, and you know, to play the game of baseball. I was a huge baseball player when I was a kid. I was really inspired by him at a young age. But yeah, man, like my musical inspirations go anywhere from like Chicago all the way down to like Audio Slave to Stevie Wonder to Michael Jackson. Like it's just all over the place.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I was looking at my, you know, when you get your Spotify, obviously the Spotify Wrap comes out the other day.
Yeah.
I'm more actually interested in the ones that the streaming stats are always cool, but it's always like your personal ones from what you've listened to for the whole year.
Yeah.
And mine's like literally all over the place. Like, yeah, I love seeing people's those. They're quite cool.
Yeah, one day I honestly like, and I'm always down to find like new artists. There's another guy that I listen to a lot. His name is Alan Stone. He's more like funk, jazz, soul type of guy. You know, I went to see him in concert twice already. Phenomenal musician, phenomenal artist. Love his music, love his writing. And like I'm always trying to find that next tip of like who the next guy is to break through. So I'm always digging for like new artists and stuff like that. But yeah, I can't nail one guy that's just inspired me.
And then we started releasing music, and you signed some big labels early on. I was going to ask you if you had any tips, because obviously we've got in this audience, we've got a lot of people, new producers, new music, new artists that are trying to get signed to these labels. Do you have any tips and advice for them to how to get in touch with these bigger labels and get in touch with the right people at these labels?
Yeah,
because obviously you've done it, man.
For sure, man. Like I think a lot of it comes down to like personal relationship first. So it's like when I first started the Avision project, I obviously was releasing music with Victor in the beginning. And then, I would look at the promo reports and I would see who was supporting my music and who was playing everything. That was my way of saying, all right, so if this guy is going to play this record, all right, he's probably going to like this, or he's probably going to like the next few that I send. So honestly, I was using social media as much as I could to just get in touch with someone. And this was before like Instagram would, do the request message. You can reach out to people. I was reaching out to guys like Alan Fitzpatrick, and then, I'd send them a batch of promos. Or if I found someone coming to the area, like Ben Sims, I first met Ben Sims like 5 years ago, or 6 years ago. And he was playing one of my records that I, released on Mark Broom's label. So I was kind of just using the pieces and the puzzles to get to the next step, and I would still keep my relationship with everyone that I was releasing with, because that's important to me too. Like, anyone want to release on one label and just say, all right, I'm done with that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a really bad stigma to have. And, I never wanted to do that to any of the labels that I worked with. But obviously the goal is just to keep building your portfolio and just keep working on releasing with bigger labels. And, eventually some guys will reach out to you on an email and you'll be like, damn, I'm getting an email from one of the biggest DJs in the world. And, it happens over time, I think. And once people start to realize, oh, this guy's got a good sound, maybe he could work with this label, or he could work with for my label. And it keeps the door going. And then I think it gets to a certain point where you want to be selective as well. You don't want to just release music everywhere. You want to be selective on where you're releasing your music, and, there's certain guys that you want to work with, etc.
Okay, let's get into some music. Let's get into some album, and let's get into some music. You released Contrast first. Let's start there, and then we'll tell us about this record.
Yeah, so Contrast was one of the first records I sent Eric to as a promo. Well, no, as a demo, I'm sorry. And it was, I saw him at Time Warp in 2019. He was playing, and he was like, dude, I want you to come back and make, like, this was before we agreed to do an album or anything. He was like, I want you to go into the studio and really, dig deep, and I want to hear vocals. I want to hear really sick synth lines and good melodies and, things that you haven't done that much in the studio, but still obviously make it you. So I'm like, all right, cool. So he put me up to like this challenge type of deal. I was like, all right, in my head, I'm going to make the best music for this guy that, I can make. And he's inspired me a lot over the years as well, musically. As a producer, he's probably right now the best producer in the game, without a doubt. Like, he's super talented. So to have a guy like him approach me, it was a big moment for me. And when I got into the studio, I just started thinking differently. I just started, writing the pads, and I remember laying down like one note, and it just inspired the whole record. And when I sent it to him, he started playing it. He played it for like a year before it even got released, a year and a half, I would say. Yeah, I had videos of him like all over the place playing this track.
That's cool.
And he was loving it, and he's like, dude, this is big, this is big, this is big. So then I kept just sending more. But Contrast was the first one that really was like the hitter. You know what I mean? Like that's why we released it first, because we felt like it gave a really great segue into the album and what the album's about. So that's why we made that the lead originally. And yeah, man, it did its thing. It went really well. Eric played the hell out of it. A lot of guys are still playing it, which is great. I love seeing it.
Can we play it? Let's play it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Such a big record. I feel like we need to give him one of these, don't we? We need to give him the old rave one. We need to give him the rave one, don't we?
Love it.
There's obviously a lot of big vocals on this album, and I wanted to talk about Robert Owens, like track 2.
Yeah.
Obviously you've only got a couple that are listed that are vocalists on there, and obviously Robert's one of them. I'm guessing that it was a big goal to work with him.
For sure.
So I thought we'd talk about when you got into his music, and then we can talk about the record.
Yeah. So I got into Robert from his record, I'll Be Your Friend, and then I just started digging. Classic record. I first heard it when I was younger. Victor used to close his New Year's Day party with that, and that's when I first heard the record. I fell in love with it, like that old school New York garagey Chicago sound. Like, it was super dope. And I just started digging into Robert, and I caught him doing vocals for a few other guys. Like, he works with Jamie Anderson a lot. He's done some really cool stuff over the years. Obviously, he's a legend. But I made that record on my laptop when I was traveling, and I was like, this needs a really dope vocal. And I was going through tracks and seeing, who could do it. And I'm sitting there, and I was talking to one of my boys, and he was like, yo, Robert Owens. And I was like, oh, dude, you're so right. Like, it would be perfect for him. And I'm like, how should I get in touch with him? I'm contemplating it in my head, I hope he likes it, blah, 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 blah. And I reached out to him on Instagram, and sure enough, he got back to me, linked us with his management, and he loved it. And it was a perfect blend. He sent me like 50 vocal stems, like insane stuff. Yeah, he's like, he had this stuff really dialed in, and super honored to work with him. And obviously, like, for me, being probably like 20 years younger than him, you'd think there's like a big bridge there, but it's really cool to relate and to work on something that we could both bring together, and obviously represent it on my album. Really cool.
Nice. What? So you made it on your laptop? Is that your usual process, or like, obviously you've got a lot of studio gear there? What's the?
Yeah, I try to get stuff done as quick as possible usually. So if I need to like build a loop on my laptop and then take it into the studio, I'll do that. But I've definitely finished records just working in headphones on my laptop. I have like a little MIDI keyboard that I'll travel with that I could just tie in, and as long as I got a MIDI keyboard, I'm good. Yeah, usually I'll start something in the studio, take it to the laptop, either work on it more, structure everything in headphones, and then I'll take it back into the studio. But that record I full on just finished in my headphones, and
no way.
Finished that all in my headphones, and then as soon as we got the vocal, I just started cutting it up to where I needed everything to be and what I felt like could be, the right vocal stems and stuff. And then after that, man, we had a record. That was it.
That's cool. Let's listen to it. Should we listen to this one?
Yeah, let's do it.
we go. That was epic. And you're saying that
Thank you, man.
You sang the he gave you loads of stems.
Oh yeah, forget it. I could load up a hard drive with his stems. He sent me insane amount of stems, which was amazing to have, which gave me a lot of flexibility when structuring like the vocal and everything.
Another question from the chat. What do you think of the OG melodic techno nowadays?
What do I think about the OG techno melodic
techno right now?
That's a hard question because like I feel like genres right now are just so scattered, right? You got trance and techno, you got like tech house is like not even tech house. I don't even know what to call it. Like it's all over the place. Proper melodic techno, I'm a fan of. Some of the stuff that's out right now might be a little bit too slow and boring for me, but it's like it depends on what style of melodic techno you're going for, right? Like if you're telling me like the Tale of Us sound, like it's not ideally my cup of tea, but listen, everyone has their sound, and I respect it all. But I just think like it's a little bit, everything's kind of all over the place. Like honestly, like when we were labeling the tracks for my album, I was like, where do I put this? You know what I mean? Like this to me is house. Like that record is a house record. That's why I put it in as house. Like there's a vocal, it's got groove. It's it's a little just scattered for me. Contrast, like my record Contrast, definitely is a little bit more on the melodic side, but it's not like if you put that in the melodic techno genre, it's not in the same realm as everything else. So it's like it's kind of a little bit scattered, but we put it in melodic techno because of the breakdowns and everything. But yeah, listen, there's some really good stuff out there, and there's some really stuff like there's some music that's just whatever, it's just following the trend.
Are you enjoying this interview? If you are, consider subscribing to us on YouTube. And if you want to watch them live, come and join us on Twitch. The link's below, twitch.tv/Graham Farmer. We have live interviews, A&R sessions, demo listening sessions. We get labels into signing records. Come and join us on Twitch. It's good fun. Let's jump back into the interview, though. Let's go. Let's talk about the lead track. Firstly, the vocals are fucking incredible. And secondly, it sounds like it could be a Chemical Brothers record, which I absolutely love. Like, fuck about. I played it I listened to the album the first time. I was like, whoa, what is, I normally have it on and I work along and I'm working along. I was like, whoa, what is this track?
Yeah.
So tell me about this record.
This record means a lot to me. Yeah. I wrote that record just expressing what I felt about everything going on. As soon as I started laying down vocals and stuff, I was just like, I got it. Like, this is going to be something. But I'll be honest, like I was not nervous to put something out like this, like wanted to put this out. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts. Like this is definitely going on the album. This is the track. This is the label. Like this is the name. We're rocking with it. And luckily, like, Eric is a super big supporter of mine, man. And like, he let me have creative freedom with everything. So it was cool. And to see him really like it as well, like that was really cool for me because like I was taking a risk at that point. I didn't know, if a full-on vocal record is going to get respected in the underground. Like that's just, But yeah, man, I couldn't be happier with the way it turned out. Like it got a lot of love on the release day. People were really loving it. That record's always going to hold a special part of my life just because of the timing of it. Like it was just like we're in the middle of a pandemic. I can't go do what I love to do right now. So let me write about it a little bit. Let me, express what I'm feeling. And that's what I felt like. That the minute I wrote that record, the minute I knew I was going to have a solid album, because like I was really taking the times of what's happening in my life, correlating them into music. And that's what we're supposed to do, Yeah, man, I couldn't be happier with this. I've listened to it probably over 2,000 times, and I'm not sick of it. It's not one of those records that's like, ugh, can't believe I made that. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'll be saying that 20 years from now, but I don't think so. I'm really proud of that one for sure.
Did you write the top line then as well?
I wrote everything, yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool. Who's the singer?
Yeah.
Is it
me?
Is it? No.
Yeah, man. My whole family sings. My dad's a singer.
No, fuck.
Yeah. I won't tell anyone. Like, obviously, I just told you and whoever else is in this chat. But like, yeah, that's me. I won't ever like publicize that I sing. I don't really like to sing that much. Like, my whole dream or goal one day with like being able to sing is to work with other artists to get what I want out of them. But yeah, man, when you're sitting in the studio at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and you have a vocal and you're writing, I'm one of those guys that just doesn't want to wait. So like I just laid it down and it worked. You know, if I felt like the vocal could have been better or could have been sang better, I would have got it done. But I was just like, this is working, so I'm gonna just leave it.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was you as well. That's mad.
Yeah, no one's gonna really know that it's me, so it's cool. You know, when someone asks, it's cool. So like when someone asks, I'll tell them, but I'm never gonna lie about that. You know, it's a talent that I was born with, and
yeah,
I'm proud to do it. I just will never grab the mic while I'm DJing and sing in front of anyone.
Oh, you're not gonna go down the Green Velvet route then and sing over the dubs.
Listen, that guy is a different breed, bro. That's cool. He could do that.
He's a special man.
Yeah, forget it. Even his dance moves kill it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play this record because it's just taking it up about 4 levels for me. It's incredible.
Let's do it.
Let's do this. This is In My Mind, which is the title track for the album. Yes. Let's blast this. It's gonna be different. I feel like I fell through. The waiting is over. So come on and take the wheel. And now you're watching. 'Cause I can see through you. Look at the distance. 'Cause I can see this through in my mind. Well, that was flipping superb.
Thank you.
Let's give that. Tell me, what were you saying about that? Were you saying about the vocal then when we were just chatting?
Yeah. So the vocal for me, it was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, just sitting there, started writing, and it just came together. It kind of like I was listening to Spin Spin Sugar a lot by the Armin van Helden remix. Like,
yeah,
I was listening to that on repeat. I don't know why, but I was just listening to it on repeat. I was listening to a lot of like 90s rock, stuff like that. And like I'm a huge fan of Chris Cornell. And I wanted to, like, when I started writing this vocal, like a guy like Chris was like a huge influence on this. And I wanted that flanger, like 90s vocal, like with the phaser type of feel. And that's why people are saying it sounds like, you know, the Underworld or New Order, like that. That's the vibe I was going for. I wanted a 90s New York vibe. And I guess I got it.
we played it on our New Music Friday, and we were like, I'm sure it must be like, maybe he's got someone from New Order or so. Yeah, man, you've nailed it. Flipping out.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I love that record.
Appreciate that.
Next up on the album, you have a lovely little interlude, and I love interludes in albums. I think they kind of pull albums together, and I feel like even when you've got an album of, like you said, club tracks, to just kind of put these little moments in there where it's slows and speeds, and like I think they just actually put a lot of like electronic music producers don't do that because it's just like bang, bang, banger, 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 banger. But I love little interludes, and I love that this one kind of is a little homage to New York. And
yeah, I don't know. It was one of the last things I did for the album, actually. I think I was listening to Jay-Z's Black album. I was just getting inspiration from like different albums and stuff. And Jay-Z had a really cool interlude on the Black album. And I was driving and I was like, yo, I have to fucking do an interlude. Like, I, without a doubt, have to do something cool. And I just started digging. Honestly, I just started digging for a lot of things. And it was probably the most fun I had working on the album, because like what I wanted it to do is like, if you close your eyes and you listen to that, you would feel like you're in the heart of Times Square or you're in the subway. And that's what I wanted. I wanted someone to feel like, wow, I just ran through New York and I'm back. there's little things like the Yankee sample, and like those little things are like what makes me me, and that's what reminds me of New York. And like just to represent where we're from and everything, and like to have that on the label in an artistic way is something important to me. So like when I started digging, I was like, I have to have like little things that like people like from outside of New York would correlate to New York. So
Yep.
like the Coming to America sample in the
Yep.
background, or like I'm walking here, like stuff like that. Like those little things are like, people will know that that was from New York. So like that's why I did those little things.
Skeleton Keys asks, did you feel record any at all for that?
So yeah, I actually at the time my dad was, he was going in and out of the city for work here and there. So he actually sent me like a few Apple recordings like off his phone from just standing there. I was like, Dad, when you go in the city, just stand there with your phone. I just want to hear that, like the horn. I want to hear those little things. And don't get me wrong, like some of it I was able to find online. Some of it I used with his recordings, because sometimes like you'll get like a bad wind audio or something like that, and I couldn't use some of it. But yeah, I have some cool stuff in there.
I'm going to play it just because I absolutely love it, and I think
let's do it.
It really ties the album together. So I'm gonna play it. It's only a minute long, guys, so strap in and see if you see what you can spot in there. Let's put that in the chat. See if you can spot anything, which bits you like in the chat.
Now you can't be.
New York City. Although to him it was a metaphor for the decay of contemporary culture. How hard it was to exist in a society desensitized by drugs, loud music, television, crime, garbage. He was as tough and romantic as the city he loved. Behind his black-rimmed glasses was the coiled sexual power of jungle. I love this. New York was his town, and it always would be.
Hot dog here. Yankees win. Yankees win. I'm walking here. Up yours, you son of a bitch. You don't talk me that way. Get out of here.
The next and last stop is Times Square, 42nd Street.
It's New York. That's the way we speak.
There we go. It's so quick. Yeah, I love that. They're all guessing in the chat. It's cool.
Yeah, everyone got it right. But that's the point. That's the point. Like I wanted people to know where at least it's from. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's super cool that everyone's got it down over there. Yeah, it was just like I just wanted a trip to New York real quick and then suck you right back in.
I felt like it really, like I said, it glues the album together. I feel like before it's kind of like it also steps it up after the break.
Yeah,
like you go a bit more balls to the walls after the interlude as well.
Yeah, so the way I structured the album, like I went back and forth with the layout and like how I wanted tracks to be on the album. I just, we went back and forth. Like I was sending, playlists back and forth to my management. Like, all right, listen to this. And then they were like, I don't know. Another one, like originally I had Contrast first because it was an intro type of track. But then I was like, you know what? It's kind of a little bit harder than certain tracks. So I was like, I think the first, it's kind of the way I structured the album is like open a set and end a set. Like that's how I thought of it, a journey up and down. So yeah, that interlude kind of separates like the houseier stuff to maybe like the more techno stuff. I thought it was a perfect way to just segue into a bomb record, honestly. Like the one after that, just that one gets me happy. So yeah, like I'm glad you guys respect it. It was a lot of fun to make. Like there's a lot of cool audio clips and just fucking around with like panning and effects. Like I had a lot of fun. I felt like I was scoring a movie, honestly.
Nice. I love it. You now step it up again with this album. I was gonna kind of skip over that, but you're I'll Take You, but you were You were
Oh, I love that record.
you sound excited about it. So let's we got time. Let's play it. Let's tell me about I'll Take You. And who's Xander? Tell me about Xander as well. Who's that?
So Xander, this is a cool story actually. So I'm happy you asked.
Yep.
Xander is, I believe he's 25. He's from New York as well.
Nice.
Younger artist. Not many people know about him just yet. He's a triple threat. You know, he's got the music, he can DJ, and he's got a good personality. I think like me and him go back, I want to say like maybe 3 or 4 years. I was at a Truncate party in New York. I was going to see Dave. He points to me. I'm in the DJ booth. He points to me and throws me a USB stick. And I'm like, is it for Dave? And he's like, no, he goes, it's for you. I was like, the hell, I didn't even know anyone knew who I was over here. Like, this is all right, cool. And, you know, chances are you get a USB stick thrown at you. I would say like maybe 2 out of 10 times that USB stick is going to be proper. So I plug in the USB stick and I'm like, yo, shit, this guy's actually pretty good.
Cool.
I reach out to him. I'm like, yo, where are you from? He's like, I'm from Long Island. I was like, oh shit. All right, cool. I was like, you got any more music? He's like, yeah. He sends me a boatload of music. I started sending it to guys like Victor, you know, send it to a few label friends. And, you know, I started putting him on to like certain labels and just getting his music out there because kid's proper, you know, and everyone deserves that shot that, you know, should be releasing music. So as soon as like, you know, he started releasing music, I would keep in touch. I would, you know, do the thing with him, just work on stuff and, you know, try to get him here to collab on stuff. And I remember him, like when I was talking to him about the album, I was telling him, you know, yo, I'd love to have you do something with me. You know, you're like the younger guy I want to help bring up. And he sent me this loop, that drum groove of I'll Take You. And it was very raw. I had the bass line there and just the drum pattern. And I'm listening. I was like, yo, this is sick. I was like, send me these parts. So just from the loop, I wrote the vocal. And I wrote the vocal on my iPhone. I was in the car. I pulled over and I said the vocal on my phone. And after I got to my fiance's house, I went into her house, said hi to everyone, ate dinner, took the vocal from my phone, drag and dropped into Logic, pitched it down, added a little reverb, delay, processed it, and we had a record. It took maybe, and I added some pads, I added some, you know, a little bit more synth, and structured the track, and we had a record there. And then I sent it to Eric, and I remember I think Eric texted me like right away. He's like, yo, this fucking record is dope. Like I remember him texting me, and it took maybe like from him sending me the track to me making the vocal, I want to say we banged that record out in 4 or 5 hours.
No way.
Like it was done. Yeah.
I seem to get that sense from like when you're talking about these records, your records come together quickly for you. Yeah,
like in my mind, I wrote within 24 hours. Like it was quick. Don't get me wrong. I went back and forth, like processing and everything like that. But the record was done in 24 hours. I think the rush for me is like, I want to get this done so I can go listen to it in my car. Like, that's what it is. In that situation, I don't have much patience. Like I'll work until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning until that shit is done. And then I'll be able to go listen to it. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, let's play this record and we'll talk about it some more.
Let's do it.
I'll take you to this place where we all can be free. I'll take you to this place where we all need to be. I'll take you to this place where our world comes alive. I'll take you to this place where the dark is the light. I'll take you. I'll take you.
There we go. So much attitude in those beats, man.
Yeah, that one's got that New York. It's like a slap in the face right after that interlude.
Yeah, exactly. And then we move into Your Soul, which is just so much raw energy and acid, and oh my word.
Yeah, this one's like That was actually the first track I made for the album. Like that was before Contrast. So like that was me starting to get into the synthier stuff and like more melodic sounding stuff too. And it's funny, the breakdowns remind me of like 70s trippy rock. Like I don't know what it is, like the chord patterns, like they just remind me of like some psychedelic stuff. But yeah, that was the first one that I sent Eric, and it was kind of a no-brainer to add that to the album just because of how diverse it is, because it's got a little bit of everything.
You play instruments as well. Obviously, you've got keyboards there, but
Yeah,
you play other instruments.
I played drums my whole life. That's my first instrument. I could play keyboards by ear, obviously. Like I can get by. I'm not no Bach, but I could definitely get by. You know what helped me was when I was in high school. I've been in like jazz band and percussion ensemble my whole life since like 3rd, 4th grade. And what helped me with keys was I always had an ear for it, but I didn't really, I never really touched piano that much. My dad got me lessons when I was like 8 years old, and I just didn't have interest in it. I wanted to play baseball. But what helped me was in high school we had to learn all the like marimba, the xylophone, all the wooden percussion, I guess you call it. But yeah, I had to learn all the scales on the marimba and the xylophone for marching band, and that's what got me to really start playing piano, because I was practicing on a piano to learn all the scales, and soon after that, starting to write chords and everything like that. So it was pretty cool. I mean, a little bit before that, I would dabble, but I wasn't like phenomenal. But after high school, I was kind of, I could write bass lines, I could play a few chords, and I can get what I need to get out. I'm not going to sit there and write jazz piano chords, but I'll get the job done.
That's cool. Let's play this record. This is a banger as well. Skeleton Keys says, "Mad good percussion again on the record."
Thank you.
That's cool. So you meant I was saying baseball, is that your sport? Are you into other anything else?
Yeah. Baseball is my main sport for years. I almost went to college to play baseball, and then I didn't want to do it. It's too much work. Like it's like a full-time job when you start getting into college baseball. So I hung up my cleats and I just focused on music. My whole life was always like split. It was always baseball, music. I was in band and I was playing baseball. I'm like, that's just how it was. So yeah, once college hit, I stopped playing baseball and I went to college for music, and that was it. But yeah, I mean, I played like basketball. I played soccer when I was a kid. Baseball was the main thing for me.
I would need it then in the music. Like, we've listened to the balls to walls techno tracks. I love that this album's got so much music on it and so many different genres on it. Like,
yeah,
so nice. And I love the little subtle track at the end, Lost Symmetry. It's a delightful moment on the album.
Thank you.
Tell us about this track.
Yeah, so I wrote this track after I lost my dog of 14 years. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know how that like inspired it, but like I told myself like I need to go in and write something for him. Like I need to do something that I could always remember him from. And that was this record. So like it does have a really nice meaning for me. It always takes me back to that time. We lost him in like the beginning of the pandemic. So it was like March.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's life. It happens. He was my dog for 14 years. So like I had him from when I was like a young teenager all the way up to, 27 years old, which was, it was a great, run, like I was super blessed to have him for that long. And yeah, man, like it was just a matter of just writing something different to bring that emotion out. And this is what I came up with for the most part.
How that's sad. I'm sorry to hear that. How was
No, it's all
the
good.
pandemic for you? Was it essentially writing this album, a lot of it?
I wrote the whole album mostly in the pandemic. Yeah, the whole time I was just focused on making music. I have so much material that I haven't like even like the stuff that didn't make the album and like just other music that I wrote. There's just so much music there. But eventually you guys will hear it. But I'm one of those guys that just like I need to keep producing music to just be myself and be happy too. You know, like creatively, if I don't get that out, I'm not as happy. During the pandemic, I was writing probably 1 to 2 records a week.
That's cool. Skeleton Keys asks,
Yeah.
can you ask what your production process is? What gear do you use?
I use Logic Pro. I have a complete Native Instruments MIDI controller. My favorite analog pieces are, well, my favorite outboard pieces are the Korg EX8000. I have my Nord Rack 2 over here, and my Korg Mini Log. And then on the wall over here, you'll see there's a Roland S50 sampler, and then Sonic VFX, and then a Kai AX80. And then to my left, there's more keyboards here. There's a Yamaha DX7 and a Korg Triton LE. So there's definitely some gear in the studio. I'd be lying to you if I told you I turn it on every day and use it. So like my whole process is like usually I'll pick one and I'll use it for the whole track. Like let me dig deep into this thing. Let me just keep funneling through the sounds and designing some stuff, and eventually I'll finish it with a record. That's usually how all my good records start. Is like I pick one plugin or I pick one sound, one synth, and I just keep it rolling. Just keep it going from there. Yeah,
cool.
I don't like to keep the process too difficult. You know, a lot of guys like they like to complicate things, and for me, it's like less is more, 1000%.
I also asked, do you have a go-to for pads?
The Korg Train has phenomenal pads in there. Plugin wise, anything from the Rolling Cloud, like I like Omnisphere is really good for pads as well, and some of the Logic in the box stuff, like some of the plugins from Logic are really great. I recently just bought the Reason plugin rack, which is like you can take plugins from Reason, like their in-house plugins, and use them with another DAW, which was pretty cool. So I've been messing around with that. But yeah, for pads, the Korg Triton's great. I use Omnisphere and some of the Logic in the box stuff.
What Microdose asks, what's the next piece of gear you want for your studio?
Actually, I just ordered new studio monitors.
Oh, what did you get?
I got the Focal. Was it the twin? The Shape 65s. I went with a smaller monitor actually, just to. I feel like I'm getting too much bass out of my Atom, so I want to try the Focals out. I was either going to go with Focal or Barefoot. I was on the fence, either or. But my buddy actually recommended the Focals, and for more near field stuff. My next piece of gear, damn, I don't even know. I'm a big Korg fan. I would love a nice sub fatty piece, like a nice Moog. But I mean, you can't go wrong with a Prophet either. I would love a Prophet in my studio. So yeah, eventually I'll get there. I'm never too like I try not to get like gear lust or like, become too much of a gearhead. In the beginning, when I first started getting into outboard gear, I was buying everything. And sometimes I would sell it, sometimes I keep it, it all depends. But I feel like what I have in front of me right now is enough to get what I need to push forward, But Don't get me wrong. When you sit in front of a fat keyboard or a synth, you're like, yo, I think I'm gonna pull the trigger. It happens sometimes, but yeah, I think a Moog is the next step for me, or what's it called? What did I just say? Prophet.
Nice. Okay. Let's listen to this record. And then if you've got any other questions, gang, drop them in and we'll ask them after the record. And then we'll let this man get out of here. Let's play this record. Lost Symmetry. This is a lot more chilled. Stunning little track, man. That's so nice.
Thank you.
What's coming up for you next? How's your what's your Christmas? Have you got a busy Christmas period? Have you what's 2022 looking like?
So we're working on finishing up the In My Mind tour. We're going to be touring.
Nice.
I just came back from London too, not too long ago. I played Printworks for the first time, which was insane.
It's an incredible venue, isn't it?
Oh my God, man. What a freaking place. That spot is just got me pretty good. So we have this week I'm in Denver. Next week I am in Montreal. Then it's Christmas. Take a break for about a week. And then I play New Year's Day with my cousin, which is like his annual party. Like his tradition is New Year's Day in New York. Like that's what he does. So I'm really excited to be playing with him on that. And then I take a little break. I go to the Bahamas for some fun, some nice vacation time. Nice. And then we hit it right back. Yeah. So be sure to just stay posted. We have a decent amount of dates coming through, so it should be great.
Where does Victor do that party at on New Year's Day? That sounds cool.
This year is going to be in Manhattan. It hasn't been in the city for a little bit. It's been in Brooklyn. So this is the first year it's coming back to the city in a long time. And I'm looking forward to playing in the city again because New York's scene's kind of driven more towards Brooklyn now and kind of out of the city. And now there's some really good clubs opening up in the city, which is great, man. Like the city needs it. Like we really do. We need nightlife in the city. It's major. It's a major asset for us. Plus, like, who wants to go into New York and have to travel like another 30, 40 minutes to go to a club? You know what I mean? Like as a tourist, like it should be in the city. You know, that's where it should be. We've definitely, missed it for a decent amount of time. But now it's starting to come back. So I'm really happy to see that.
Has it got over the, because I'm sure you have like closure problems and like restrictions on times and things like that in the city?
Yeah, we had a decent amount of closures, but like now it's pretty much as long as you're vaccinated, you're good to go. Yeah, I haven't seen any issues. I mean, we've been staying open till as late as we can. Cool. The new mayor I heard is working on, like once the new mayor gets into the office, he's going to be working on like a 24-hour liquor thing, which will be insanely big for nightlife. I mean, it will drive, money through New York immensely, which is great. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think, it's looking pretty good. There's a few new clubs that should be opening up soon. It's about time. New York used to be like the stomping grounds for clubs. Like my cousin would tell me in the 90s, every block was a new big club, with like 3,500 people in it, no problem. So it's like when you think that and you look at New York now, it's kind of like it's changed, big time.
Where did you first start going out in club-wise?
So the first club I actually ever went to in the city was called District 36. I just turned 17 or 18. And Victor was playing. He snuck me in, and I was able to go see him. It was the first time. And then the main club in New York for like, I forgot how long of a year run it had. It was, I want to say 9 or 10 years. Pasha had a run for, and Pasha was like the main big room club, which that room used to be called the Sound Factory, and that was also a major club for New York.
I didn't realize
it started
that.
off. Yeah, it used to be. Well, there was the original Sound Factory bar where Junior Vasquez had his residency, and then it turned to the 42nd Street location. That's what became Pasha after that. And man, that club is definitely missed. Like, it was funny because New York was like, you know, kind of tired of Pasha because it was Pasha. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's like was over it. But like, I could ask like maybe 90% of our industry probably misses that room now, because it was just, you know, it was the last like bigger room in New York, and you know, a well branded club. So it's definitely missed. We also had Space Ibiza in New York, which was pretty cool for a little bit. We had like a 2-year, 3-year run, but that room was impressive. Really, really cool room. Where else? Output in Brooklyn was phenomenal. That was a great club. Loved that room. Yeah, man. So that was like the last like 10 years of going out, I would say. Like, that was where I would go. Plus there's always after parties and warehouse parties and all that stuff. So made my rounds for sure over there.
Right. Wicked. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Brother. Thank you so much for your time. I think we fully love this album, man. So, well, like, massive congrats. Let's give you a little thing as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for I hope to see you in the UK soon. If you're coming over,
yeah, man, definitely. We're looking to come back over there soon, so I'll keep you guys posted.
Let's come and hang out.
Yes, definitely, brother. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
See you soon. Thanks for coming.
Take care.
What was your biggest takeaway from that video? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you're getting out of these videos. I'll be reading all the comments and replying to them. If you've got any questions about the video or you've got any thoughts about the video, let me know in the comments below, and I'll be jumping in those comments afterwards. Also, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe anyway. Love to grow this channel and this community on YouTube, so please consider subscribing. It means you get the videos first, and you get notified when the videos go live. If you want to watch these interviews live, come and join us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Graham Farmer. The link is in the description. Come and join us live on Twitch. Subscribe over there and join us live in the chat and be part of the OGs in the crew. Finally, if you want to join our big networking server for producers, DJs, artists, come and join us on Discord. It's really cool. It's really fun hanging out in Discord. Again, the link's below. Join us in the Discord. And you get all the access to all the A&R feedback sessions and all the forms to submit your tracks to labels first. They're always in there first. I'll be answering questions in there again as well. Join us in there. It's good fun. Thanks again for joining us on YouTube, and I will see you in the next video or live stream. I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.